And I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Today is October the 1st of 2020. Roll call, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Erasmo Villarreal,
Present.
Jose Tellez,
Present.
Jorge Dominguez,
Present.
Rafael Dueñas.
He's not going to make the meeting. He already called me, let me know.
Okay. Abraham Lugo,
Present.
Johnny Narvaez. Raúl Dugalde,
Present.
Larry Dovalina,
Here.
Carlos Flores.
Mr. Narvaez is here. He's just having a little technical difficulty right now, but he's.
I think Johnny, can you hear us?
I'm present.
There you go. Johnny's present. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Narvaez. For the record, you do have quorum, Mr. Chairman.
We do have a quorum. Thank you very much. I would like to have a motion to excuse Commissioner Dueñas.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion to excuse Commissioner Dueñas? I know he was feeling ill when he called me today.
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. All those in favor? Signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. The next item that we have is the consideration of the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of September the 17th of 2020.
Reyes makes a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. The next item that we have is, do we have any citizens' comments? Is there anybody in the line, Kirby?
Well, if this is being broadcast on the Laredo Swagat will lag, and we'll see if
Sure.
anybody calls in. If they do, our staff member Gracie Briones will chime in and say we've got somebody on the line. And I'll use this opportunity, if that's okay, to just remind everyone that it works best if you mute your audio when you're not speaking. Even if your audio doesn't have that much feedback, you may not notice the feedback on your line, but it'll be significantly better audio quality for the public and for the other commissioners if you mute when you're not speaking. And it appears we have no public comment.
All right, thank you very much. The next item that we have is the consideration of the following preliminary plats and preliminary replats. This is going to be item 5A. This is the preliminary consideration of the plat of the Emerald Industrial Park Phase 1. The intent is industrial.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the applicant is Emerald Riverview Development Limited. The engineer of record is Porras Nance Engineering. 61.64 acre tract of land located south of FM 1472 and south of El Pico Road. The current zoning is AG and R1A. Proposed use is industrial and it's 6 lots. General location, aerial view, street view, and the proposed plat. These are the comments from planning, comments from engineering and from fire, water utilities and traffic safety, continued from traffic safety, and the proposed motion.
All right. Before we get the engineer of record on, is there anybody from fire on this meeting?
Yes, sir. It's Chief Dominguez with the Laredo Fire Department.
All right, Chief, I have a question for you. I saw your comment. And I remember when we took action some time ago about the secondary exit. Have you guys worked something out in that particular residential area that can have a secondary exit, or is that still needs to be worked out?
I know, I don't think anything has been brought to us yet, but, we do need that secondary access from that residential area.
Chief Dominguez, if I can, we spoke with the engineer before the meeting and he concurs with staff comments. He'll be on in a second to speak for himself, but I don't think there's any disagreement with the comments.
Okay, I
Okay,
mean,
so there-
once we got that secondary means from the residential, I mean, we should be fine.
yeah, because that was a big issue. If you guys remember, if you guys remember, that was a big issue we had. We went round and round on that for quite a while, the last time that particular residential area got done. And that was, it's kind of critical for you guys, especially fire, that secondary exit. But if we can get the engineer, I guess, on the line, Kirby, I don't know if he's on yet.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Mr. Nance from Porras Nance Engineering is on the line for any questions you may have.
all right, put him on.
Mr. Chairman, this is Wayne from Portos Engineering.
Okay,
I overheard the comments and I did speak with Kirby about this. Just to fill you in, after I saw the agenda, I spoke with Victor Lopez from the fire department, and we agree with that comment. We understand that we can provide a secondary access through an emergency access easement, as we've done on other places. And we were on the same page with Victor, and we're satisfied. I think we're mutually satisfied that we can get this done during the one-stop shop. And with that said, we also agree with all of the comments from city staff. So we concur with all the comments.
okay, very good. Thank you very much. Does anybody in the commission have any additional questions for the engineer, for city staff? All right, if no one has any questions, what are the wishes of the commission?
This is Ugalde. I'll make a motion to approve, subject to the comments.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Narvaez.
We have a second from Commissioner Narvaez. All those who are not in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. With none heard, motion is approved. Thank you. The next item is item 6, consideration of the following final plats and final replats. Let me ask you this.
Mr. Chairman, this is Ugalde. Can I request
Yes,
a motion to hear 6A, 7A, and 7B together? That's my
yes,
motion.
I was going to ask you to do that, for us to do that. Yes, we have a motion from Commissioner Ugalde to hear those items together. Can we have a second?
I'll second the motion, Dominguez.
Dominguez seconds the motion. All right, all those who are not in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Motion carries. All right, can I have a motion?
This is Ugalde again. I'll motion to approve item 6A, 7A, 7B.
All right, we have
Second the motion, Dominguez.
a motion and a second. All those who are not in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Next item, item 8. It's public hearing recommendation of an ordinance amending, this is item 8A, amending the City of Laredo Code of Ordinance to allow for annexations to occur on a set schedule twice per year, eliminating section 2.7 filing fee, amending section 24.62.8, zoning of newly annexed areas. Kirby?
Yes, sir. I have a short presentation prepared for y'all, and then I'm available to answer any questions. The proposed ordinance was in the packet, and I just want to take you through the reason and the major points of the ordinance. Our current process, there has been an expectation that we have an annexation cycle every year, but it hasn't always started at the same time. There is nothing in our current ordinance that states when an annexation will occur. So that adds some uncertainty to the development community. In addition, it adds more time to the process because as a first initial step, we have to go to the council to get them to adopt a schedule. And that adds time. And depending on the time of year and how many city council meetings there are and when they fall, that can add a month or two of additional time. So due to these two reasons, we spoke with the city council and recommended that we add a set schedule. And not only that, we thought it would be a good compromise because we're asking for a few additional things, that we could do 2 cycles a year as staff. And what we're asking for is a little better, a little more staff time to review. And I'll get into that, as well as a couple additional information. So what we're proposing is 2 cycles a year. The due date, so anyone can submit an application for annexation anytime, but the applications will be processed on a deadline twice a year, the 3rd Friday in January and July. That will avoid any holidays that might occur. We don't want engineers to have to work over Christmas if it was the first Friday in January. And then staff review will vary. If we get less than 6 applications, we'll only take 4 weeks for staff review. If we get 6 to 12, we'll ask for 6 weeks. And if we get more than 12, we'll ask for 8 weeks, but no more than 8 weeks of staff review. And that recognizes what council's been asking for, and they want us to give a little more in-depth analysis for these annexations that come. So the result will be that each annexation cycle will take 3 to 4 months versus right now it's about 5+ months for an annexation cycle. So we're actually shortening the time of the cycle. And what we're asking is that we eliminate the ag as an option when annexations come in. You know, agricultural zone, if somebody's doing ag, it doesn't require any city services. So it really doesn't make sense that we have ag as an option for annexations. Application submissions they'll require more detail by this ordinance. Right now, basically what they submit is just a boundary line saying we're going to annex this land, but they don't tell us what they're going to do with it. So it makes it very difficult for staff to say, well, okay, what are you proposing in terms of the amount of roads and the type of roads and the amount of commercial or industrial you're going to add? Because we need to do those calculations to say, where does that put the city 10 years out in terms of maintenance and taking over all the infrastructure that you might be proposing? And so by them providing us more detail, it gives us the ability to give a better analysis to Planning Commission and to City Council. In addition, they're going to have to do all those things anyway when they plat. And so it's not like the engineer has to do any more work. It's just the work is done when they ask for annexation. And we're at this time, we're not asking for a change in fee, although our fee is very much outdated. We're not going to be asking for a fee change at this time. It's something, hopefully when the economy is a little better, we can look at all of our fees and say, we're not trying to make any money. We just want to be able to pay for the cost of our services that it requires. And so what that will allow for in the future is more detailed applications will mean that we can give you more analysis for when these come in. The development community will have an expectation of when these annexation cycles are going to occur. So we'll take out some of that uncertainty. And what we're working towards in the planning department as we build our team here, and we have a long-range planning team that can put together a plan. We want to have a plan that will be regularly updated, an annexation plan where we get the staff, the development community, and the general public together, and we say, and this is something the comprehensive plan calls for, but we can create a plan called an annexation plan where we say, look, this is where the city wants to grow, and this is the direction it wants to grow, and this is the type of growth it wants to have in the next few years based on the investment the city is making in its infrastructure, rather than right now basically taking any annexations or not, wherever they come from across the city. So that is something that many cities have, and it's something our comprehensive plan calls for, and we're building towards that. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Kirby, I do. A question that I have for you is you're eliminating the ag zone. The minute that now when annexations come in, you're going to propose for them to come in as an R1 or an M1, or what would that proposal be?
It would be whatever the applicant wants. They would make that request.
Okay, so they could also request ag zoning.
Well, they could request anything but the ag zone, because the ag zone doesn't require any city
Well,
service.
here's the deal that I don't know how. Let's assume that we're annexing 1,000+ acres. Obviously, the development for that particular whole area is going to take some time. I believe the reason that ag zone was put in there way back, it's an issue where if you do have a residential or a manufacturing in some kind of a zone, that property then goes on the tax rolls as commercial property. I think the ag was on there to avoid that type of taxation on vacant property that was not ready to come in. It was annexed, but it's not ready to come in. So how did you guys analyze that, or did y'all think that out, or what is the thought process on that?
Yes, sir, we absolutely did. We checked with the assessors, or with the Webb County Appraisal District, and spoke to them about how they do their appraisals. And just because of a zone change, that doesn't trigger a reassessment. You know, they look at what's going to be developed and our permits pulled. It's a lot more sophisticated than just, oh, the zone changes, let's increase the value. It doesn't work that way. And so I think maybe that has been the part of the fear, maybe, was it hoping to
Yes.
taxes. However, that's not a concern. The concern from us is, let's say you annex 1,000 acres, but you only give us a plan for 100 because you just want to bring it all in now, but you don't really know what you want to do with it. Then we as staff can't provide an analysis and the city doesn't know what they're taking in. So the better alternative would be, especially with 2 cycles a year and a shorter annexation period where it doesn't take 6 months, it takes 3 to 4. They bring in the land when they're ready to develop it. And then they have a plan for it. And then they tell us their plan. And then we can do the analysis and tell the city, tell you, the commissioners and the city council, this is this cost to the city if we decide to annex it. So that's what we're trying to get around, is this idea of just annexing land for ag that doesn't need city services. It's going to sit, and we don't know what it is going to be, and we can't provide the city with good analysis. And
No,
the
I
city
think
does a good
that's
decision.
excellent, Kirby. Thank you for that answer. That answered my question. Thank you very much.
On the average, what are the sizes of the annexations as far as acreage?
They range quite a bit. This last annexation cycle, we had some as small as half an acre, I believe.
But if you average them out,
And then we had ones that are hundreds of acres. An average really wouldn't tell the story because, like I said, we get really small acreage tracts, and then we get big ones too. So they go from hundreds of acres to less than an acre.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Kirby on the commission?
So the motion I'm asking the commission to make is to send a positive recommendation to the city council, who will hear this we'll hear this on Monday for adopting it for a first reading, to adopt this as part of the ordinance.
so move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Ugalde.
Second, Ugalde. All those who are not in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. None heard. Motion carries. Thank you. The next item is,
I'm sorry, Commissioner Villarreal, this
Yes.
was a public hearing.
oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. I missed it. You're right.
Yeah,
Is there anybody on the line who would like to speak to this ordinance? I'm so sorry. Let's not vote on that motion yet.
Yeah, I apologize. That was my fault.
Recall my motion.
If we can give it about 30 seconds.
There's somebody in the background I can't hear. Is there anybody on the line, Kirby?
Because there's a lag in what the.
Yeah, okay, we'll give it a minute.
Thank you, sir.
Kirby, this is Ugalde. Should we recall my second and Duvalina's motion then, or what's the process?
That may not be necessary unless the public hearing influences your decision and you want to change it.
Inform.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we have received no public comment on this item.
All right, thank you very much. With no public comments, we do have a motion on the floor. Those who are not in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. None heard, motion carries. Thank you. The next item, director's comments.
Yes, sir. I want to thank everybody on the commission for their service. You do not get paid. This is a volunteer position. And it's not just the time you spend here. Some of these meetings may be short. I think our record was 10 minutes. This year we may break a new record, but it's the time you spend as well out of this meeting preparing for it. We send you a packet that sometimes can be hundreds of pages long. We've tried to shorten it, I will say, in the last year and a half, as we've made a lot of changes. One of them is we try to give you a more concise packet with just the pertinent information so that you know what's important to review. But at the same time, it does take your time, and we recognize that. We want to recognize your service and want to thank you for it. I want to point out a couple things. What we're going to be doing next is voting for positions on the commission. And with that, you can re-elect the positions that are there, or you can elect new officers to serve. And we know, again, these are volunteer positions that you're electing your fellow commissioners to. And it does require a little extra time because one of the duties of the chairman is to sign plats. And so we've got to bring them to the chairman, and the chairman's got to make time for that. So the service that you've given in this over this last year, Commissioner Villarreal, I want to thank you for that service, and we can move on to that agenda item if you're ready.
All right, we're moving on to item number 10, election of officers. First one is the election of the chairman. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call for anybody who's interested or whatever the wishes of the council are on this particular item of the chairman.
I motion to vote for Erasmo to continue as chairman.
Second.
Reyes, second.
All right, we have motion and we have a second. Is anybody else who's interested in maybe position? No? Because if not, then I'm going to call for the vote. All right, those who are not in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. When none heard, motion carries. Thank you all very much for your confidence. The next item that we have is the election of the vice chairman. Again, I'm going to call for anybody who wants to make any nominations or whatever the wishes of the commission are.
I motion to keep Reyes as vice chair. Ugalde.
All right, we have a motion.
I'll second the motion, Dominguez.
We have a second from Dominguez. All those who are not in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. With none heard, congratulations, Joey. Motion carries. Kirby, before we adjourn, let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
Gracie Briones is now on your staff?
That is correct. Oh, yes.
Okay.
And
You didn't introduce her, so I thought she was with Parks, but
Well-
she is.
let me introduce her just a little bit. She was with Parks, but we were lucky enough to pull her over into the planning department. She has been serving in the MPO planning division. We have 3 divisions in the planning department. We had 2 a year ago, but we added a 3rd. We have a current planning division that handles all the entitlement. We have a long-range planning division that we're growing that handles the long-range planning for the city, doing plans like the active transportation plan, which you'll be seeing here in a couple weeks. And then we have the MPO planning division that handles the transportation planning and the metropolitan planning organization for the region, for the county, and for the city. So Gracie is assigned to the MPO planning division, but while we're down a couple staff people, she is assisting us in the current planning division. If she likes it, maybe maybe she'll decide she wants to stay in the current planning division. We'll give her that flexibility because she's a fantastic employee, and I've been very impressed with her so far. Gracie, if you can introduce yourself.
Thank you, Kirby. Yes, Graciela Briones, and as I started with the meeting, I've met Mr. Villarreal, and I had the pleasure to be also working here since Mr. Dovalina was here, the city manager. And I've been with the city since 1995. I started here in the planning department, and years after, I went to work for TxDOT and then back to the city with the Parks Department. I was in Parks for 17 years and I've been here since July. And so, yes, very happy to be here working with the team.
Very good. Glad to have you on board with the planning
Thank you,
department.
Mr. Villarreal. Thank you.
Good.
Welcome, Ms. Briones.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Kirby, before we adjourn, I'm going to bring up an item here, and it's related to one of the items that we had on the agenda. I have just a question for you. I know that the Emerald Industrial Park is a preliminary coming up, but I also know that we had sent back the Killam Industrial, and it appears to me that we've got a lot of traffic coming in from both sides. So this is going to be something very critical for you guys on your planning side, as well as for Danny McGee, to figure out, how to get all this traffic, I guess, in and out of the Mines Road. I mean, it sounds like you got a monumental task in front of you guys,
Well,
but
To that comment-
it is. It is what it is.
it is what it is. I'll let Danny make a comment if he wants. My comment would be, this is a long-term challenge and it requires a long-term solution as well. In other words, we're not going to fix this one overnight. There isn't some fantastic idea just waiting for us to figure out this, the answer, and then all of a sudden our problem will go away. It's a very difficult challenge. We're working on many things that will address it. We're looking into traffic impact fees. We're looking into other ways of capturing value, maybe with a traffic impact zone or a traffic area zone similar to a TERS. The idea is, or one of the challenges is that you see as a planning commission that many developments come in and they don't have to build any of the major roads because they just their development happens to not go through, not encompass one of the major arterials or minor arterials of the city. And so they don't pay into the system, which is our big roads, even though their traffic will definitely use it. Whereas other developments, because of the location of their property, they have to pay more into the system than they might use, or the city has to come up with the money and that delays the project. And so what we're looking towards is something that's more fair, that spreads that out to all the users in the system. And many cities have turned to things such as impact fees for a fairer solution. And while you think, well, developers are going to hate that idea, actually, the most savvy developers in the state recognize that we need a fair system to distribute the cost of our infrastructure to all new development, not just the new development that's adjacent to or encompassing our major roads. So that's one of the solutions we're looking at. That's going to be a long-term one. It's going to take us time to put that forward. But I think it will make a difference on our big roads. TxDOT is doing some improvements on Mines Road. And, I think, Danny, if you recall the number, they just went through it with us yesterday or a few weeks ago, and it was in the order of millions of dollars of investment that they're making. Dan, do you want to speak to that?
When is that investment going to happen?
Wasn't there a $45 million project, Kirby? Is that sound right?
Yeah, they're not expanding the right of way, but they're doing several improvements along intersections and what else?
They were doing
you recall?
They were going to do some turning lanes coming off of World Trade Bridge,
Right.
double turning lanes, and they were going to do an isolated lane. But really, when you think about those things, the best thing we can do with these things is figure out a way how to get mobility going without having to stop. That's where our bog down comes in. We got to go light to light to light. If we can eliminate somehow going light to light to light or getting traffic to flow faster, I think that would help a lot for this transportation industry.
Well,
It's a challenge.
part of the problem is that we're allowing trucking companies to go out there and set up driveways in farm to market roads without requiring them to do acceleration lanes. There's no turn lanes. And so a truck, in order to get into the yard, stands in the middle of the traffic lane in an isolated area, and you end up, having somebody hit them from behind and get killed because somebody allowed them to do the driveway without looking for the proper precautions. Just up the road from this Emerald Park that we discussed a little while ago, there is a trucking company or parts company or whatever it is called Suarez right there at the corner, past excavated in the roadway without an opportunity to go anywhere because you've got trucks on the shoulder of the road, you've got trucks on the inside lanes, and there's nowhere to go. And clearly somebody's gonna get killed. I mean, I don't know what the solution is, but if you don't give them the driveway permit without doing an acceleration or deceleration lane, I would think that you would have mobility without having the danger that is currently there. And it seems to be happening everywhere. You see it in 3338. You just had a trucking company called, I want to say it's Landstar, that's just beyond Peñitas. I travel that road because that's how I get to my ranch. And all of a sudden, the guy next to me says, watch out, the guy's turning. And I had to hit my brakes. I'm going 60 miles an hour because the truck stopped in the middle of the lane.
If I could say something, Commissioners and Mr. Chairman, and I hope this doesn't sound, like I'm trying to get my point across, at your expense, but just the fact that you guys recognize this honestly helps our job. The fact that you're promoting this, that you're saying, hey, we need to slow down and let's take a look at it, that helps a lot. In the past, everything was rubber stamped and we just kept growing and growing and growing. And that's where we are. By no means do any city staff want to get in the way of development, but sometimes we're going to have to say, we need to slow down a little bit, or you can't develop all your property until you have an alternate access. So that's where we want to get to, is say, okay, we can develop this much, but we need others to help us out with the rest.
Mr. McGee, this is Thayes. I don't think that we have to go very far to recognize the problem. We've had that problem on San Dario, just north of the old Hygeia exit, where we have an ag truck lot that just pulls out, and it creates traffic accidents and traffic problems. But we are on that side, or on your side, as far as regulating those issues.
Right. And I do feel the support. I really do. It makes my job, it's still tough to do it, but honestly, with your support, it feels a lot better knowing that I'm not the only one in this. And Kirby's doing a great job with the recoding that we're going to do, and I feel we're moving the city into the next. We just started this century, but we're going to be there.
How can I get a copy of the MPO?
The study?
Plan? Yeah, the 3-year, whatever you do. Don't you do a 3-year
Google Laredo MPO.
projects that are scheduled to be done?
If you Google Laredo MPO, you can find our website with our MTP, our Metropolitan Transportation Plan on it, which is our short-term plan. And you can find our longer range plans as well. We're working on redoing the website to make it much more user-friendly. But if you check that out, if you don't find what you need, send me an email or give me a call and I'll send you the link.
Okay, thanks.
All right, guys. Anybody have anything else that you would like to discuss? If not, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
This is Thayes with my only duty as vice chairman. Thank you, guys. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second the motion, Ugalde.
All right, gentlemen, anybody who does not wish for that motion to go forth, signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you all very much. It was a very good meeting, and we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Everybody stay safe and have a great weekend.
You too.
Stay
safe. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.